Marandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasade Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, welcome again to our study of the Bhagavad Gita, and we're on the final chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Here you can see the title of the final chapter, Conclusion, the Perfection of Renunciation. So we'll just quickly go through the contents of the first section of this chapter. Right? It began with Arjuna's question. Right? Arjuna wanted to know about tyaga, or renunciation, and the renounced order of life, what we call sannyas. And he wanted to understand, are they the same thing or are they different? And Arjuna addresses Lord Krishna as, O killer of the Kasi demon. Killer of the Kasi demon. Krishna had killed the Kasi demon in Vrindavan, right? There's a Kasi Ghat is there in Vrindavan, where Krishna killed the Kasi demon. Kasi was in the form of a horse. He was a demon sent by one of Kamsa's friends. So Prabhupada talks about that in the purport. At the end of the purport, he explains to us why Arjuna addressed Krishna as Kasi Nishudana. Kasi Nishudana. Kasi was a most formidable demon who was killed by the Lord. Now Arjuna is expecting Krishna to kill the demon of doubt. All right, Arjuna has some doubts. They discussed earlier in the 3rd chapter and the 5th chapter about tyaga, or renunciation, and sannyas. So Arjuna wants Krishna to explain it again and finalize everything, take away all his doubts, kill the doubts. So then Lord Krishna begins to reply, and he explains about what is actually renunciation. And that's in the 2nd verse. You can see in the 2nd verse, Lord Krishna says, and giving up the results of all activities is what the wise call renunciation. Right? So it's mentioned in the Sanskrit. You can see Sarva Karma Palatyagam. Sarva Karma Palatyagam means giving up the fruit of all your work, giving up the results of all of our activities. This is actual tyaga, or renunciation. And then Lord Krishna goes on. He talks about renunciation. He said certain acts should never be abandoned. Sacrifice, charity, and penance. Yagna, dan, and tapa. Yagna, dan, and tapa. Sacrifice, charity, and penance are never to be given up. And then Lord Krishna explains, going ahead here, text number 4, Lord Krishna explains that renunciation is of three kinds, right? We know we learned before, there's renunciation in goodness, in passion, and in ignorance. And we're going to hear, Lord Krishna will explain these things. There you can see it. Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up. Yajna, dan, and tapa. Sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls. So they should never be given up. And in the purport, Prabhupada talks about how a sannyasi, like Prabhupada was a sannyasi, he's a sannyasi who's in the renounced order of life. He's given up his family relationships. So is he allowed, can he encourage the marriage ceremony? So Prabhupada, of course, Prabhupada did that. Any sacrifice which is meant for human welfare should never be given up. Vivaha yajna, the marriage ceremony, is meant to regulate the human mind so that it may become peaceful for spiritual advancement. And so sannyasis, they cannot associate with women, but still to help young people, they can perform things like a marriage sacrifice. And Prabhupada did that. And we talked about charity. Giving charity must be given to a suitable person. It should be used for a good purpose. It should be helpful for spiritual life. You cannot just give charity to anyone. Person has to be qualified to receive it. All right, so then Krishna's final opinion. All of these activities should be performed. All activity, yajna, dan, tapa, all of these different things, they should be done without attachment or any expectation of result. They should be performed as a matter of duty. We have to know what is proper duty. Prabhupada writes here at the end of the purport, a devotee of the Lord should accept any kind of work, sacrifice, or charity which will help him in the discharge of devotional service to the Lord. We should never give up our work. We should never give up our duty. That would be the mode of ignorance, to give up our work. Anyone who gives up prescribed duties as troublesome or out of fear of bodily discomfort is said to have renounced in the mode of passion. You see? So there's renunciation in the different modes. And this kind of renunciation in the mode of passion never leads to the elevation of renunciation. So we should understand, if we think, oh, it's too much trouble, oh, I'm not going to do it, it's too much trouble, or, oh no, it's so cold, bodily discomfort, oh, it's too cold, or it's too hot. That kind of, I'm not going to do it because it's too cold or it's too hot. So that bodily discomfort, that kind of renunciation, that's the mode of passion. It's not a good reason to give up work. So a Krishna conscious person won't be in the bodily platform. Prabhupada writes here, the result of passionate work is always miserable, right? I told you about that the result of passion, work in the mode of passion, is miserable. Now here, what is renunciation in the mode of goodness is being described. We want to come to the mode of goodness, so our renunciation should have the right mood. So we should perform our duty only because it ought to be done, and give up all material association and all attachment to the fruit. Then that is renunciation in the mode of goodness. So Prabhupada says here, prescribed duties should be performed with this kind of mentality. We're doing it because it ought to be done. And give up all material association and don't be attached to the fruit. And here you can see in the purport, very interesting purport. Prabhupada writes here, describing a man working in Krishna consciousness. Right? Many devotees, they work in Krishna consciousness. They have a job working in the factory or maybe in an office. So a man working in Krishna consciousness in a factory does not associate himself with the work of the factory, nor with the workers of the factory. He simply works for Krishna. And when he gives up the result for Krishna, he is acting transcendentally. Right? So he works for Krishna. That's important. We're not working for our own satisfaction, but we work for the pleasure of Krishna. That is real transcendental. And again, more qualifications for a person in the mode of goodness. He should not be hateful of inauspicious work, nor attached to auspicious work. He has no doubts about work. So this is an intelligent renouncer. So Prabhupada describes it. It's nice to read Prabhupada's purport here. How in the mode of goodness one does not hate anything which troubles the body. We don't hate anything or anyone who troubles the body. He does work in the proper place and at the proper time, without fearing the troublesome effects of his duty. So that's like the mode of goodness. And then Lord Krishna continues, he said, it's impossible for a being to give up all activities, but one who renounces the fruit of action is called one who is truly renounced. So you cannot give up all work. That is impossible. But we can give up the fruit of the work. That is actual renunciation. And that is the meaning of sannyas. And Prabhupada writes here, you can see this purport, very nice here. Prabhupada is writing about the devotees. He said, there are many members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness who work very hard in their office or in the factory or some other place, and whatever they earn, they give to the society. And then he says, such highly elevated souls are actually sannyasis and are situated in the renounced order of life. You see, so this is the exalted position of devotees. they're happy to renounce the fruit of their work for the pleasure of Krishna. You see, we need many devotees like that. So then Krishna explains about people who are not renounced, then they get reactions. But people who have renounced everything, they don't suffer. They've renounced everything. All right, so that was karma explained up to text number 12. Lord Krishna was explaining karma yoga. Now, verse number 13, Krishna begins to explain about Gyan. And he explains there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Right? We want to, when we're doing something, we want to understand why was it successful or why was it not successful. Well, there are 5 causes there. Right? And the ultimate cause of everything, the ultimate cause, the ultimate control is invested in the super soul here. But there are 5 causes. And the 5 causes are mentioned here. The place of action, meaning the body. The performer, the person who did it. The various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. These are the 5 factors of action. So everything, all the results, everything which we do, these 5 things are all taken into account. So this is Gyan, right? Jnana Yoga is being described. And Lord Krishna explains, whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind or speech is caused by these 5 factors. So we should know these 5 factors, these things. And what's the most important one? Of course, that is super soul. And Lord Krishna said, if we think we are the doer, then we're not very intelligent and we cannot see things as they are. And here, next text, Lord Krishna brings up the topic of fighting and killing. Lord Krishna said, if we're not motivated by false ego, even though you kill men, you don't really kill, and you're not bound by your actions. So, you see, Arjuna, he was not fighting because of false ego. He was very careful. He didn't want to be influenced by ego. And that's why he's taking instruction from Lord Krishna before the battle. He wants to be free of any ego before he goes into battle. Here in the purport, Prabhupada explains, nor is he ever affected by the reaction of such a killing. Right? Because Arjuna is going to kill, so Arjuna was worried about the sinful reaction. But Lord Krishna said, no, there's no reaction if you're in the right consciousness. If you're doing it without false ego, there's no reaction. And the example is given, here the example is given about a soldier. Just like a soldier kills under the command of a superior officer. So when the soldier kills someone under the order from his superior, he's not going to get any reaction for that. But if the soldier kills on his own personal account, then he'd certainly get in trouble for that. And he would go to be taken to court and punished. So there's a difference in killing. See, when you kill under the order of superior authority, then there's no reactions. So Lord Krishna is giving this example to Arjuna. And then more aspects of knowledge, 3 kinds of impetus for daily work, and the instruments of work, all mentioned, 3 different modes of material nature, 3 kinds of knowledge, action and performer of action. Now hear of them from me. And Lord Krishna is going to explain to Arjuna, about different kinds of knowledge. Knowledge in the mode of goodness, all right? Then knowledge in the mode of passion. In the mode of passion, you see people differently. In the mode of goodness, you see living entities, you see them undivided. You see their spiritual nature. You see them all like your brother and sister. They're in different bodies. You don't see the body, you see their spiritual nature. But in the mode of passion, you make a distinction based on the bodies. That's the mode of passion. And then knowledge in the mode of ignorance, we become attached to knowledge. In the mode of ignorance is where we become attached to one kind of work without knowledge of the truth. Then that's the mode of ignorance. And then working in the mode of goodness, one should be regulated. Actions which are regulated, performed without attachment, without love or hatred, and without desire for fruit of result. Then that is the mode of goodness. Right? We want to come up to the mode of goodness, so we have to hear what is the standard which we're trying to achieve. We should be regulated. Just like in the ashram, it's very regulated. Generally they have lights out at a particular time, and then in the morning, lights on at a particular time. Usually like 9:30, lights out, and then 3:30 in the morning, lights on. And everyone gets up, takes bath, goes for bath, go to Mangal Arti, like that. And there's regulated lifestyle, regulated eating, regulated sleeping. And we do it without desire for any result. So that is the mode of goodness. We're not thinking, I will get liberation, That's a material desire, if you think like that. So we shouldn't have material desires. The mode of passion, working in the mode of passion, great effort to gratify our senses. It's not good. And here, working in the mode of ignorance, disregard of scriptures, without concern for bondage, and violence and distress caused to others, that's all the mode of ignorance. Then the worker in the mode of goodness, he does his duty without association, without false ego, but with great determination and enthusiasm. So that's the mode of goodness. It's all described here. Then the mode of passion is described again. Here, worker in the mode of ignorance is described. The worker in the mode of ignorance he is always engaged in work against the injunction of the scriptures. He is materialistic, obstinate, cheating, and expert in insulting others. And he is lazy, always morose, and procrastinating. Then he is said to be a worker in the mode of ignorance. Right? You don't want to have that kind of attitude, to be in the mode of ignorance. And then Krishna goes on to speaking about understanding and determination also in the different modes. Mode of goodness and passion and ignorance. Understanding, and here you can see text number 31. He's describing the difference between religion and irreligion. So that understanding which they're not able to distinguish between religion and irreligion. And they cannot distinguish between the action that should be done and actions that should not. So that's the mode of passion. And then action in the mode of ignorance is where you think irreligion to be religion, and religion to be irreligion. And we always strive in the wrong direction because we're under the spell of illusion and darkness. So that's the mode of ignorance. Mode of ignorance is always the opposite from the mode of goodness. And then determination is described, how we should be very determined. We don't want to give up. Or at least we should control our mind and senses. And we should be steady in yoga practice. In the mode of passion, people are determined because they're worried about their economic development and their sense gratification. They're only thinking about that. That's why they're so determined. In the mode of ignorance, people are just dreaming and thinking about other things. They're morose and they suffer madness. So that's the mode of the determination, the mode of ignorance. And then Lord Krishna explains about happiness in the mode. It's incredible, people often, they cannot understand there are different levels of happiness. There is happiness in goodness, happiness in passion, and happiness in ignorance. And in this chapter, Lord Krishna describes about happiness in the mode of goodness. Right? So happiness in the mode of goodness, text 37. In the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end, it's just like nectar, and awakens one to self-realization. So that is happiness in the mode of goodness. In the beginning, it's like poison. Oh, when people sometimes first become devotees, they don't like it. Oh, they don't like the diet. Oh, they don't like waking up early in the morning. They don't like sitting to chant. They can't do these things in the beginning. But if they continue to practice, they can change. So happiness in the mode of goodness is like that it appears to be poison in the beginning. And here's happiness in the mode of passion. That which happiness is derived from contact with the senses and their objects, and it appears like nectar at first, but poison later on. That's the mode of passion. In the beginning, it's like nectar, but then it changes, becomes just like poison. And we see this particularly, the happiness in the mode of passion. The common example is the relationship between a young man and a young woman. And in the beginning, they have so much attachment and feeling for each other, so much passion. But then the mood changes after some time, and they start to quarrel and disagree with each other and fight with each other, and the relationship becomes unpleasant, and then may even end in divorce. So that's happiness in the mode of passion. There's a lot of passion, and that's why we have a lot of marriages which are based on passion, and they don't last very long. So that kind of relationship should be avoided. And here, happiness in the mode of ignorance. It's delusion from beginning to end, and it arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion. So sleep, laziness, and illusion, they're the results of happiness in the mode of ignorance. So we have to be very careful. Definitely we'd like to have happiness. It's the nature of every soul. We want happiness, but we often try to find happiness in the wrong ways. We look in the wrong places, or we have the wrong ideas about it. So we have to be very cautious and very careful. And Krishna goes on and said, there's no being anywhere, even the demigods and the higher planets, they're also subject to the three modes of material nature. And then goes on, text 42, we hear about the qualities of the Brahmana. That's important also. The 9 qualities of the Brahmana. We should know Sanskrit and English. Just like devotees, if you're doing this Bhakti Shastri course, then this is a qualification for people to get the second initiation, to become Brahmanas. And with the second initiation, then they can chant the Gayatri Mantra, and they can worship the deity, and they can give lectures and such things. But Vaishnava is superior to Brahmana. The Brahmana is a material platform, but Vaishnava is spiritual. So you can see the qualities of the Brahmana. Right? We spoke about the Brahmanas yesterday. Maybe you remember. I spoke about truthfulness or honesty, how the Brahmana won't hide anything, and also about cleanliness or purity as it's described here. Want to keep everything nice and clean and pure. Okay. So the Brahmana is the head of the social body, and then you have the Kshatriya. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 qualities for the Kshatriya. Right? I spoke about the Ishvara Bhav, that, you could call it leadership quality. Yeah, Ishvara Bhav, leadership. It's an important quality for the Kshatriya. And then they have to be also very courageous, courage in battle, right? They have no fear. They'll fight, they'll give their life. Just like some soldiers, they're famous in fighting and they're ready to give up their life on the battlefield. They consider that a glorious death, to die on the battlefield. Actually, Srimad Bhagavatam said there are two places which are glorious to die. One is on the battlefield, and the other is when you're in samadhi. If you're in samadhi, then you can also die, give up the body. So the different qualities of the Kshatriya are then mentioned. And then the Vaishya, right? Krishi Goraksha Vaninam Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam. And the Sudra, his job is to do service for others. And Krishna then says, everyone can become perfect by doing these things. You can become perfect by doing your duty. And talk about doing our own work. Better to do our own work imperfectly than to do another's work perfectly. Sometimes it happens like that. People think, no, I can't do this, I should do something else. So then, text 48, Lord Krishna gives an example that every endeavor is covered by some fault, just as fire is covered by smoke. Of course, we hope that we won't have a fire, but when you light a fire, generally what happens is there'll be some smoke. So smoke is troublesome, but still we want the fire, and in order to get the fire, we will tolerate some smoke in the beginning. The smoke may come, but we can tolerate it until the devotee is ready to take part in the activity. So every endeavor, there will be some problem. So it's no reason to give up the work. You shouldn't give up the work, even though there may be some fault. We have to expect there will be some problem there. So it may be in sports, or it may be in academic pursuits, or whatever. But we have to expect some trouble. And Prabhupada talks about it. Lord Krishna gave the example about smoke coming from a fire. So the smoke is not very pleasing. Prabhupada explains, we should not give up our material occupation just because there are some disturbing elements. Rather, one should be determined to serve the Supreme Lord by his occupational duty in Krishna consciousness. That is the perfectional point. So we have to know how to do things nicely to serve the Supreme Lord. We want to satisfy the Lord. So then Lord Krishna goes on speaking more about jnana and becoming detached, giving up all kinds of thought of enjoyment. And by cultivating that kind of knowledge, you come out ultimately to the level of Brahman. That is the idea, you see, to come up to the level of Brahman. Controlling the mind with determination. You see, not with Krishna consciousness, but just simply with determination. Being freed from attachment and hatred also. And live in a secluded place. These different things are all mentioned. Many different points about how we can practice or how we can prepare ourselves for self-realization. That's what we ultimately want. We want to become self-realized. So we want to come to that level of Brahman. And you can see text 54, which is a verse which is often quoted. It begins like this: Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. Prasanatma, meaning a joyful soul. Brahma Bhuta. One who sees, who can see everyone. One who sees me, or sees the devotees. If you see everyone, see them as a spirit soul, then that's good. If you see everyone as a spirit soul, then you're seeing their spiritual nature. You're not looking at their body. So that's the mode of goodness, to see the spiritual nature of someone. So this text 54, this is like the end of the description of people who've been practicing jnana, to come up to the higher levels of spiritual knowledge. So it mentions Brahma Bhuta Prasan Atma. One who knows the Brahman, then he will be a joyful soul. He will be happy in the joyful soul. We cannot expect people who are just simply Brahma Buddha to know Krishna. Often people on the platform of Brahman, they're Mayavadi, they're impersonalists, and they just want Krishna. They just want to get free of the material energy. So Brahma Buddha. Impersonalists, that's their goal, to come to the Brahma Buddha stage. We're not interested so much in Brahma Buddha. Brahma Buddha simply means, I know I'm Brahman, I'm not the body. So that's nice, and you could say that's the beginning of self-realization. You understand you're not the body, you're a soul. The devotee was giving class this morning in Mayapur. Maybe you heard it. Did any of you listen to the class this morning from Mayapur? Did you hear the Bhagavatam class?
But
No?
yes,
Yeah?
I have heard many times, but not today.
Not today. Anyway, he was talking today. He was talking how he was in a line one time, and there were two people in front of him, and he said they had these big bodies. They were very big size. You know, they were really fat and overweight, and and he said they were hearing Prabhupada speak, and Prabhupada was speaking how the basic principle of Krishna consciousness is to understand that I'm not the body. And when the two people in these big bodies, when they heard that, they said to each other, they said, well, that's good news. They said, that's good news for us. And because they were in these big bodies, you know. So sometimes you get people in that condition. It's not very nice what to do. Okay, so how are we doing? We're up to 54, right? So 54, from here, then it begins talking about bhakti. We're going to hear about bhakti. We had the revision of karma yoga and jnana yoga, and then when we heard about performing a duty, prescribed duty, and now we're going to hear about bhakti yoga, right? You can see 55 begins with bhaktya mama bijanati, right? Only by devotion, only by devotional service can I be understood as I am. And when one is in full consciousness of me with such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. So this is very exciting, very devotional, a very powerful statement by Lord Krishna that we can enter into the spiritual world by such devotion. Right? I hope you all want to go to the spiritual world, right? Right? Anybody doesn't want to go? Anybody doesn't want to go to the spiritual world? Everyone, right? You all want to go. Vishate, he enters. Yes? You don't want to go, huh?
No, Maharaj, I was saying that everyone wants to go.
Oh, okay. Okay, so here's how we can go, right? We have to understand Lord Krishna as he is. When we're in full consciousness of Krishna, we can enter into the kingdom of God. So this is a very important verse for us. Krishna is saying that only by devotional service can we understand Krishna. So this is important. And you can see it's mentioned, bhaktya, by pure devotional service. So we want to understand how important that is for us. We definitely want to be able to enter, to go to see Krishna. Only one who is actually Krishna conscious can understand Krishna. University degrees are not helpful. Okay? You got that? University degrees are not helpful, Prabhupada says. Some people may be PhDs or whatever, but they may have no devotion. But devotional service is the real qualification. And what Krishna wants he wants that love. He wants that love, loving service. That is the real thing to get Krishna. That's not, that there has to be that love. So we have to get free of all kinds of material concepts. In the material world, there's so many concepts about relationships and what's good and what's bad. We have to give up all this and we have to come to the platform of real devotion, where we simply want to serve Krishna. Here's a nice example Prabhupada gives in the purport here. He's talking about a green bird enters into a green tree. Right? A green bird enters into a green tree, not to become one with the tree. People are thinking, oh, become one, merge. But the green bird, and you can see in Vrindavan, if you go to Vrindavan, you'll see there's many green birds there, parrots. They're green colors, usually. And they fly into the trees, and then they'll come out when they're ready, when they think nobody's there. These parrots will come out of the windows, and they will want to eat the fruit. The green birds go into the trees, they will eat the mangoes. They will eat all the fruits. You may have a cherry tree or a mango tree, whatever, but if the birds come, they will eat the fruits. And you've got these green birds, they fly into the green tree, you cannot tell, oh, what happened? Where did the bird go? It's like if the bird has become one with the tree. You cannot see it because they're the same color as each other. So the green bird flies into the green tree. But Prabhupada said, yes, the bird flies into the tree, but he flew into the tree to get the fruits. He didn't fly into the tree to give up his individuality or to lose his identity. He flew into the tree so that he could eat the fruit. He wants to enjoy the fruit. And then Prabhupada talks about the impersonalists. They give the example about a river flowing into the sea and merging. So this may be good for the impersonalists, but the devotees, the personalists, they keep their personal individuality like a fish or an aquatic in the ocean. So within the ocean there are many different aquatics, many different creatures all in there. So they keep their identity, they don't lose it. So we have to have complete knowledge of all the living entities in the ocean. In the same way we should have complete knowledge about Krishna and his different energies. Understand Krishna's transcendental qualities and his opulences. So this is not... So that you come to the Brahmabhuta stage and you want to go on from there. Brahmabhuta is actually not very difficult for devotees. Because we just chanting Hare Krishna, and very early, very easily we can come up to the Brahmabhuta stage. That I am not the body. But then we have to know, what are we supposed to do? What are the activities of Brahman? What are we supposed to do? Now that I know I'm not the body, I'm a soul, what am I supposed to do? And often you see, you get impersonalists, they want to give up, they want to stop everything and do nothing. And that's wrong. Rather, what we have to do, we have to take up acts of devotion. We have to come to the transcendental platform and engage in transcendental activities, which begin with Shravanam Kirtan Vishnu. We have to hear and chant about Lord Vishnu. This is the real purpose of coming to the platform of Brahman. That now that you know that you're Brahman, now that you should act like Brahman. That the fact that we're spiritual beings does not mean that we should be inactive. Rather, we should be active as a spiritual being, and spiritual beings are all part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So like this, we have to understand the position of the living entity. Right? So Brahmabhuta is just the beginning. Prabhupada said, after liberation, this service is never stopped. Actual liberation is getting free from misconceptions of life. Right? We don't want to stop activities, but we want to begin transcendental activities, devotional service. Alright, so the chapter goes on, text 56, Lord Krishna is explaining more about the nature of bhakti. Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotees, under my protection, reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. So, Lord Krishna is describing how he helps the living entities to come to his abode. The devotees, though, are mentioned that they are pure devotees. and they're always engaged in all kinds of activities. It means they want to work for the pleasure of the Lord. They're not trying to deny the Lord activity. They're not stopping work. They want to serve the Lord. And Prabhupada in the purport talks about it. He said 24 hours a day, 100% engaged in activities. And these activities are done under the direction of the Supreme Lord. So this is Krishna consciousness. And in that way he is guaranteed that he will get to go back to Godhead. He will reach the eternal and imperishable abode by Lord Krishna's grace. Right? We're under Lord Krishna's protection. And then 57, Lord Krishna continues. He said, in all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. So you see, devotee, it's not devotee stops work, but depend upon Krishna and work always under my protection. So we have to work, but we have to work under the protection, under the guidance of other people. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. So we have to be Krishna conscious. And Prabhupada describes about a Krishna conscious person. He said he will do his duty faithfully. He acts only on the order of the master. He says, a servant has no individual independence. Yeah, we are the servants. Lord Krishna is the master and we are all his servants. So our relationship with Krishna is like the relationship between the master and the servant. The servant, his job is to just do whatever the master tells and to bring whatever the master wants. And he will do whatever the master tells him to do. The servant doesn't worry about profit or loss. Servant doesn't mean he has to, we have to get more money, we have to do something else, there's too much work here for me. The servant will point out, the master will say what he wants, and the servant will he will do whatever the master tells him. Arjuna was acting under the personal direction of Krishna. But then Prabhupada raises a question, what about when Krishna is not present? Then how should we act? So Prabhupada says, according to the direction of Krishna in this book, as well as under the guidance of the representative of Krishna, then the result will be the same. Right? So Prabhupada's instruction, there's Prabhupada's Vani and Prabhupada's Vapu. The instruction is the Vani and Prabhupada's physical form is the Vapu. So in the absence of the Vapu, the Vani is there, the instructions are there, and we should follow them. That is Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada in the purport writes here, he said, after doing something whimsically, he should not offer the result to the Lord. That sort of duty is not devotional service. One should act according to the order of Krishna. This is a very important point. The order of Krishna comes through the disciplic succession. So we have to follow the orders of the spiritual master who is in disciplic succession. All right, text 58. Krishna gives more instruction. Become conscious of me. You will pass over the obstacles of conditioned life. So, if we're conscious of Krishna, we'll pass over the obstacle. What happens if we're not conscious of Krishna? If Lord Krishna said, if, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. So this is the problem. We will be lost. The one who's in Krishna consciousness, he always looks after his friend's comfort. Lord Krishna takes care of the devotee, and he gives himself to his friend, because the devotee is so busy serving Krishna. Krishna wants to serve the devotees. And then text 59. If you do not act according to my direction, Lord Krishna is speaking, and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to engage in warfare. So Lord Krishna is pointing out Arjuna's nature. Arjuna is a Kshatriya, and his nature is he likes to fight. If there's a fight, he's happy. He doesn't mind, he's not afraid of war. He will be engaged in war. Of course, Arjuna was worried, he didn't want to kill his teacher and grandfather. He was worried about that. But still, Arjuna's nature is going to fight. He has that Shakti, that potency, that he's a fighter. So Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna that, you're saying you don't want to fight, but I know you're going to fight sooner or later. You won't be able to avoid it because you're a Kshatriya. You cannot give up your nature. You cannot change your nature so easily. Okay? Right, that's Arjuna's swabhava. His swabhav, his own nature, is to be a Kshatriya. So Lord Krishna is telling him, he said, under illusion, text number 60, under illusion you're declining to act according to my direction, but compelled by the work born of your own nature, you will act all the same. So this is the law of nature. We cannot stop work. Everyone is influenced in different ways, and we're going to act according to our nature. But if we can do something under the direction of Krishna, that is the best thing. To act under the direction of Lord Krishna. So does Lord Krishna direct everyone? Yes. You can see text 61. Lord is in everyone's heart, and He's directing everyone. We're on the machine. The body's like a machine, the material energy. And the Lord is in the heart, and He's directing all He knows the desire. He knows our mood. He knows our nature. And so the Lord, as the Super Soul, is directing us in different ways. All right? Here you can see Prabhupada gives an example. He said, a person seated in a high-speed motor car goes faster than one seated in a slower car. The living entities, the drivers, may be the same. Similarly, by the order of the Supreme Soul, material nature fashions a particular type of body to a particular type of living entity, so that he may work according to his past desires. So we get the body according to our qualification. Krishna knows our desires. So Prabhupada gives the example. Somebody's got the high-speed motor car and somebody's got the slower car. Somebody's driving a tuk-tuk and somebody's got the big sports car, which can go really fast. So different kinds of cars, different natures of people. So we're not independent. The same way we get these different bodies according to our nature. The body we've got is according to our karma from the past. We want to be careful we don't get another body. We want to get free of these material bodies. And to get free of these material bodies, we have to get rid of all of our karma. And we can do that by simply taking shelter of Krishna. And here you see, text 62, Lord Krishna said, surrender unto him. By his grace you will obtain peace and the supreme and eternal abode. So this is very nice. You want to get freedom from the material energy. We have to surrender to Krishna. And we can go back to Godhead by surrender. So Prabhupada quotes many different verses from Bhagavad Gita. But Arjuna accepts Krishna as the Supreme. So now, what happens here, we can see Lord Krishna is talking about knowledge which is more confidential, right? We had confidential knowledge, and now here's more confidential knowledge. And a few verses you'll get knowledge which is most confidential. So confidential knowledge, more confidential knowledge, and the most confidential knowledge. Like that, we want to understand what is this knowledge. It's not all the same, you see. Confidential knowledge, for example, that could be knowledge of the Brahman. And more confidential knowledge would be knowledge of Paramatma. And the most confidential knowledge will be knowledge of Bhagavan. So there are three different levels of knowledge. There's Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Right? Can you follow this? Guyam Taram, still more confidential. We had confidential knowledge, just simply knowing you're not the body, you're a spirit soul, you're Brahman. That's the first level of knowledge. Then you can go on to more confidential knowledge, understanding there's the Lord as Paramatma as well. There's not just one soul, but there's the Lord who's all-pervading in the hearts of all living entities, the Paramatma. And then there is Bhagavan, that the Lord is also existing in his own abode. He has his own planet there, and his devotees are there, and he's very happy there with his cows, taking care of the cows, and coming for the program, coming to hear, coming to take part in the chanting every night. So like that, there's different knowledges, different levels of knowledge. Brahmabhuta, that's the beginning of transcendental knowledge, knowing you're not the body. But you have to go on from that, and then you can come to knowledge of Paramatma, and then from Paramatma you can go on to knowledge of Bhagavan. Right? Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti sabhyate. Vedanti tat tadvam vijam tadvam yajnanam advayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti sabhyate. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Sutta Goswami is describing the great sages who know the absolute truth. They call this non-dual substance as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So there are 3 different levels of realization of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Some people realize the Absolute Truth as the Brahman. Some people go on and realize the Absolute Truth as Paramatma. And others, they realize the Lord as Satchid Ananda, that he is the eternal soul. Right? Paramatma, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Right? So this is the 3 levels of knowledge. Brahmabhuta, joyful soul, never laments, does not desire anything. Why? This is due to confidential knowledge. Right? What is that confidential knowledge? He said Krishna also discloses knowledge of the Super Soul. That is also Brahman knowledge. Knowledge of Brahman. But it is superior. Right? You've got first of all knowledge of Brahman, and then you've got knowledge of Paramatma, or the Super Soul. That's superior. And if you go on, you get knowledge of Krishna, the Supreme Lord. So Arjuna is getting this kind of direction. Okay, are there any questions so far?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I have a question.
Yes.
Maharaj, I have a question from the purport text 18.10 and from the verse 18.13 or maybe 14. So as Prabhupada mentioned in the purport that a Krishna conscious person does not hate anyone or hate anything which troubles his body. And then we see from the verse 13 to 14 that one who is free from the false ego, they see that there are 5 reasons of the doer. So I have a confusion, like many confusions regarding this. Say, for example, if a person harms us intentionally or hurts us intentionally, then how can we take the responsibility of that thing if ultimately the cause of the doer is super soul? The one confusion is that, and the second is that what happens with that situation if somebody hurts us and still we try to tolerate them, but at last we stop trusting them, we have some trust issues with those things. So what, like, is that those trust issues are because of the lack of spiritual advancement or something else? And also how to understand like the difference between the forgiveness and the foolishness, because sometimes we forgive and that comes out our foolishness. So this is my confusion.
Wow, you have a lot of confusion.
Yes, Maharaj.
Well, first of all, your first question was, what was your first question? Was it about everything is caused by the super soul? No, it's not all. Huh?
My confusion was that super soul is also the one of the cause for if a person is doing something.
Yes, it's one of the causes, but it's not the only cause.
Yes. So my
Right?
confusion is that then how can we understand, like, if super soul is also one of the reason, then how we don't like we see through those vision that we don't hate those person or their activities. So yeah.
Yes. Well, we should understand person does activities and so on. You may do something which doesn't please you or which is not very nice to you. But you should think, well, I must have done something to him in the past to cause him to do something like this to me. You know, how do you know that you didn't do something to him in the past and that's why he's doing like that to you now? Right? That's one way to understand it. The other thing you could think that whatever happens, it's not by chance. There must be some reason for it. So, somebody's giving you trouble, you definitely just want to make a bigger distance between the person and yourself. Don't get so close. And you know that he's dealing with you in a rough way, in an unpleasant way, then you want to keep away from him. Because his dealings are rough and unpleasant, so you don't want to spend any time trying to make any friendship or relationship with such a person. Better to just keep back. And think, you know, you could see it as a test from Krishna, or you can see it that, you know, you've done something in the past to deserve it. And this is a karma. And just accept it. But you don't retaliate, because if you make a point of retaliation, then it will get worse. And the person will become more anxious and more irritable and more nasty in dealing with you. That's a problem. You know, a lot of people don't realize that somebody does something to them and they think, I'm going to get revenge from them, I'm going to beat them. And the result is, you make the situation worse. You don't make it better. But one devotee said, if we try to get revenge, then you may justify it by saying an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. But if we think like that, then the whole world will go blind. We'll all have to sacrifice our eyes. And we'll all have to have new teeth to protect our eyes. So we have to learn tolerance. And Lord Chaitanya taught us tolerance. Chanada pi sunich ena, to be tolerant like a tree and to offer all respects to others. At the same time, you can also be like the story of the snake. You know, there was a snake who became a devotee. He was initiated by Narada Muni. So Narada Muni told the snake that now you're a devotee, you cannot bite anyone. So the snake said, oh, okay. So he accepted Narada Muni's instruction. So the snake went away. However, after some time, the children saw that the snake was not biting anyone. So the children all began to tease the snake, and they used to play with it and give it a very difficult time. So the snake came back to Narada Muni, and he told Narada Muni what was happening. And when Narada Muni heard what was happening, then Narada Muni said to the snake, he said, well, I told you you couldn't bite anyone, but you can show your teeth to them. So the snake understood what to do. And next time the children came and began to irritate him, then the snake pulled up his hoods like he was going to bite someone. And all the children became afraid and they all ran away. And the snake never got any more trouble from them. So the snake did like that. He pretended that he was going to bite someone and showed his teeth. And in this way he got the children to stop giving him trouble. You understand?
Yes,
Did you get it? Do you understand the story? You know, either you can tolerate, or if you cannot tolerate, then you can, you know, pretend you're going to do something drastic or something, but don't do it, you know, just pretend. Yeah, you have to deal with the situation in the proper manner. It's not easy. But as devotees, you know, we're tolerant. In general, we try to tolerate. Lord Chaitanya, when people were threatening him, Lord Chaitanya he took sannyas. And in that way, then they all had to offer respect to him. Lord Chaitanya, when he was chanting the holy names, somebody told him, no, you shouldn't be chanting this, you should chant the names of Krishna, you shouldn't chant the names of the gopis. And so Lord Chaitanya became angry that this student was being very foolish and trying to instruct him. And Lord Chaitanya chased him with a stake. So then all the students got angry and they all wanted to beat Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya thought, I've come to deliver them. And if they're going to beat me, then they'll all go to hell. It will be very bad. So Lord Chaitanya thought, in order to help them to respect me, I should become a sannyasi. So he took sannyas. And Lord Chaitanya was a very strict sannyasi. And of course, that's only one reason. There were many other reasons why he took sannyas. But, you know, you have to think. People are giving you trouble. You can tolerate. If you can tolerate, very good. Sometimes if you tolerate long enough, then they get fed up and they don't disturb you anymore. They just leave you alone. Right? You understand?
Yes, Maharaj.
Mm-hmm. So,
Thank you.
okay, any other questions are there?
Yes, Maharaj, we are having a question in the chat box from Riya Mataji. She is saying, Hare Krishna Maharaj, I have a question that what is false ego and how to be free from false ego?
Oh, what is false ego? So false ego is to think, I am the proprietor, or I am the doer. We're thinking, this belongs to me, or I did this. We're thinking ourselves to be the proprietor or the doer of activities. And so, how to get rid of false ego? We have to establish pure ego. You see, the false ego is contaminated ego. So you want to have you cannot just simply take away ego and become egoless, but we can have pure ego. And the pure ego is to understand that I am a spirit soul and I am the servant of Lord Krishna. Nitya Jiverswarupahaya Nitya Krishna Das. In Bengali they say like that the position of all living entities is to be a servant of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is the master and we are all his servants. So pure ego is to serve Lord Krishna. Or you can also serve Lord Krishna's devotees. That is also pure ego. To be the servant. We are the servant of the servant, right? We say be the servant of the servant of the servant. Many times the servant. That is how we get rid of the false ego. That's how we come to the platform of pure ego. Seeing ourselves as the servant, not the master, not the doer. We give the credit to Krishna. I told the story before about the one man who was cooking for the devotees. He was an elderly man, and he would come and he would cook prasadam, and then he would serve the prasadam to the devotees. And devotees, they said, your prasadam is so good, your cooking is so nice. Right? Do people tell you that? Are you girls nice cooks? Are you cooking nicely? Yeah, if you cook nicely. Anyway, this one man, he was an elderly man and he was a brahmachari, he'd never married, and he was cooking at the temple and he was serving to the devotees. The devotees were praising him that, Babu, your cooking is so nice. And he would say, if it tastes good, then thank Krishna. But if it's not good, then you can blame me. So that is pure ego, right? If it tastes good, we say, thank you, Krishna. It's Krishna's mercy. We're the other way. When it tastes good, we say, I did it. And when it tastes bad, we say, oh, Krishna's mercy. Oh, I forgot to put the salt, or I put too much salt, oh, Krishna's mercy. No. We should, the real ego, the pure ego, is to give the credit to Krishna and take the blame for ourselves if it's not done nicely. So, like that, it's the pure ego. Just like desires. Desires, we cannot be without desire, but we can purify desires. We want to have pure desires, not sinful, not desires for our own sense gratification, for our own greed or our own lust, but we want to desire for the service of Krishna, desire in relation to devotional service. So that is good. And so same way, ego. Our ego also should be in proportion to our spiritual dimension. Right? Our material dimension, how big are you? Maybe you're 5'8" or something. I don't know. But our ego is often in proportion to our physical body. But actually, our real ego should be in proportion to our spiritual dimension. Our spiritual dimension is, we are all spirit souls. And the size of the soul is 1/10,000 of a tip of the hair. So very small, very tiny. Our ego should be in proportion to our spiritual dimension. You shouldn't be thinking, I'm 5'8" or on whatever, how many kilos you are, I don't know. I'm 40 kilos or whatever, you know, and your ego is in proportion to your physical body. But that's false ego. The real ego will be in proportion to your spiritual dimension. So Lord Chaitanya teaches about that, and he said, Amanina manadena. Offer all respect to others, and don't be anxious to take respect yourself. Be always meek and humble, and ready to offer worship to others. So like that you can get free of ego by more chanting, pure chanting, without offense. All right, is that a hand up? Somebody's got their hand up. Is that a question there?
Yes, Maharaj. Varsha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I am confused between actions or intention. Just like if somebody is working in the suppose mode of patient, but their intention is not connect with that work, and they want to come to the mode of goodness, but are not able to. So, are their actions is still in the mode of patience or ignorance?
They're not able to come to the mode of goodness? Why not?
Mm, their works, their responsibilities.
Their material desires.
Not a desire, there are responsibilities because they don't know from the beginning of their life. After they are converting the ashram, they are be in grastha ashram, then they know what's their life, what he is, what is their responsibilities. But in before years they in mode of patience, but now they want to go mode of goodness, but they are not able to.
Well, they have to keep trying. They may not immediately be able to come to the mode of goodness, but just the fact that they're aware that there is something, there is a mode of goodness, and it would be good to come to that mode of goodness, then they can move gradually in that direction. So that consciousness is the intention, and the desire to come to the mode of goodness is good. And it can happen gradually if they keep thinking about it and making some efforts, making some adjustments, they can come to the mode of goodness. It may take some time, but certainly it can happen. And it will be good for them. It will be good for their material and spiritual life to come to the mode of goodness. The mode of passion is not healthy. It degrades. It makes one very disturbed constantly. You're not peaceful. And if you're not peaceful, you cannot have any real happiness. So it's important to come to the mode of goodness. We want to appreciate that. So it's good that you're speaking about the mode of goodness and you want to come to that level, but you say can't. Well, can't immediately, but keep the desire, and one day it will happen. Gradually you move towards that direction. So it takes practice. We're practicing. Sadhana bhakti is practice. And so it takes some time because we're conditioned souls and we've been in the material world a long time. And we've had many different bodies. And we've been often in the mode of passion and ignorance. And now we're trying to come out of the modes and come up to the mode of goodness and go up to pure goodness. So it takes some time, but we have to keep that desire, keep endeavoring, and Krishna will help us. When Krishna sees our sincere intention and our sincere desire, he will help us. He can make arrangements for us to come up to that mode of goodness. And when we do come up to the mode of goodness, then the
Thank you, Maharaj. I understand.
You understand? Yeah? Good. So we encourage you. We want to hear that now you're much more closer to the mode of goodness. Get rid of the passion and ignorance. The problem is we're in the mode of passion and often we go down to ignorance. So it's good you're trying to come up to goodness. Certainly, if you go down to the mode of ignorance, then it's really trouble, really bad. But if you can come up, maybe not all the time, but sometime, you come up to the mode of goodness, gradually you can get rid of passion and ignorance. And that's what we want. We want to come to pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva, with no passion and no ignorance. And you can do it. The more you practice bhakti, the more you're Krishna conscious, then the more you will come up to the mode of pure goodness. So chanting is very important. Yes, any other questions?
Krishna Maharaj, Krishna Maharaj, I apologize for our insolence at times. I profusely apologize for our insolence at times.
Oh, no. Nothing
I
to
think that
apologize. Nothing to apologize for. We're happy to have an audience trying to present Krishna consciousness. They're willing to hear and spend their time to hear about Krishna and Krishna's teachings. It's admirable. So we encourage them in their pursuit of Krishna consciousness, go on studying and hearing, chanting, inquiring.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you for your appreciation.
You know, I was reading your bhakti, your manual about the Gayatri mantra. Yeah? I was
Yes,
reading.
Maharaj.
Yeah.
How did you find that?
Yeah, I got a copy of it. Yeah, and I've been looking through it now. You were saying about Gora Mantra, that the Gora Mantra is not, that it's from the past, that it from the time of Mahaprabhu and from before that also, the Gora Mantra, is it?
Yes, Maharaj. I did some research on that. Actually, it was quite not funny actually. At that time, it was like giving me sleepless nights because it mentioned or it referred to a book which I couldn't find actually, that such a book doesn't exist. Only later on did it, like, by Krishna's mercy, dawned upon me that the name of the book was incorrect. The book existed, but the name that was quoted there in the origin, in some source, was like incorrect. Then I found that book. It was in a manuscript form on archives, and there I found the mantra Klim Gauraya Namah. So the mantra is not a manufactured mantra. The mantra is indeed part of one of the tantras, Urdav Amnaya Tantra. That's the book. So I remember that.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it's not a manufactured mantra. That was that. In fact, I mean, I don't know whether this platform, but there's one book. It's still, we can see it around in Mayapur, selling around. The book is called Advaita Prakash, and supposed to be the pastimes of Advaita Acharya, but that is one of the books mentioned in the list of books which have got Apasiddhanta according to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in the Chaitanya Chaitamrit purport. And that is unfortunately has been translated by one of our ISKCON senior devotees. And that book, one of the Apasiddhanta in that book, it tries to minimize the position of Gaura Gayatri. The argument is that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared due to the prayers of Advaita Acharya was not chanting Klim Gauraya Nama or the Gaur Gayatri. So he was worshipping the Shaligram using the Krishna mantras. So if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can descend by the strength of the Krishna mantra and worship of the Shaligram and with Ganges water and Tulsi, so what is the need for Gaura Gayatri? You see, it can be that dangerous. And our unsuspecting devotees, they think those things as nectar, they read it and then they distribute it. It's poison.
So he wasn't chanting Gaura Gayatri, he wasn't chanting.
Yeah, because at that time, like the mantra didn't manifest, the deity didn't manifest.
But Shivananda Sen was chanting.
That's later on.
Oh, that's later on when Shivananda Sen's chanting.
Later on. Yes, later on. Advaita Acharya is like old enough to be his grandfather. So
But I
during
thought you said even before Mahaprabhu the mantra was there. Even before.
Yeah, it was there, was not, yeah, obviously it was there, but it was not used. But it was there in the Shastra. In the Shastra. That's why we find in the Shastra. Because that is yes, Maharaj. Sorry, Maharaj. I'm sorry, Maharaj.
And how was Shivananda Sen using it then? Did he take
Certainly,
it just because of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Somebody must have given that mantra. Yeah, Maharaj, actually, how does this mantras, like after the time of Mahaprabhu, how did this mantras got introduced? That still is a mystery. Because we understand that although we are coming from Madhva Sampradaya, these mantras are not chanted in Madhva Sampradaya. So, as I understand, the only logical conclusion would be Mahaprabhu gave them, just as the worship of Gaurnitai or worship of Mahaprabhu's deity was introduced by Mahaprabhu himself. So, otherwise, you see, I've got so many pastimes. Vishnu Priya getting a deity of Mahaprabhu, then Gauridas Pandit getting a deity of Gaurnitai. There are so many pastimes where we see that Gaurnitai deities have been given by Mahaprabhu himself. So there is the worship of the deity without the mantra is useless. So then the deity and the mantra has to come hand in hand. That's my understanding, Maharaj.
Oh,
That's my humble understanding.
okay.
I mean, what is the question of worshipping a deity without a mula mantra? So that's what I understand. I mean, that's how I think that's one of the way I think we can always, this argument we can always use to, like this, expose these Mayavadis who declare themselves as incarnation of God and then ask their devotees to worship them. We can always ask the very simple question, okay, show me the Gayatri of your Guru Maharaj who is claiming to be the avatar.
Show me the Gayatri.
Yeah, it's a very simple question. Just like you see in India, if somebody says Sai Baba is God, so we can always go back and ask them, show me the Gayatri mantra of Sai Baba in the Vedas. Then we will understand.
Okay. Interesting.
That's my enough.
Thank you. Okay, ladies, any other questions? We didn't finish the 18th chapter yet. But
Hare
we're...
Krishna Maharaj.
Yes?
Please accept my humble obeisances. Maharaj, I want to ask about the Gayatri Mantra. Why everyone can't chant the Gayatri Mantra? I mean, when I was a child, So in our Pathshala, we used to chant Gayatri Mantra daily. It was our routine. So now I come to know that everyone cannot chant the Gayatri Mantra. So why, I want to ask?
Well, you know, I got into trouble with this one time because because I also thought not everyone can chant Gayatri Mantra, because that's generally the policy in ISKCON, that people should be initiated into chanting Gayatri. And I mentioned in a lecture one time about this, so one man said, this is not right. He said, actually anyone can chant Gayatri. But of course there's Brahma Gayatri. Brahma Gayatri is commonly chanted. You see, when we chant other mantras also. We have Guru Gayatri, we have Gora Gayatri, and we have Kama Gayatri. There are 7 mantras which we chant. But usually people chant Brahma Gayatri. And so one man told me, he said, you are wrong, because I was saying, no, you know, you have to be qualified, you have to be initiated, receive it from a guru. And he said, no, Gayatri Mantra is there for everyone can chant. So he told me like that. I don't know what his authority was, I didn't ask him. But at least within ISKCON, we do have that standard that the Gayatri Mantra is given by the spiritual teacher to the devotees who are established in Krishna consciousness. If you're strictly following 4 regulative principles and chanting 16 rounds, then you should get Gayatri Mantra to chant. Are you initiated?
No, Maharaj,
Not yet? No?
not yet.
And so later on, you know, once you get initiation, you see, usually we have 2 initiations. The first initiation is into chanting Hare Krishna, and the second initiation is the Gayatri Mantra. As I understood it, the Gayatri Mantra, you should be firmly situated in the mode of goodness. If you're engaged in things like meat eating and so on, then the Gayatri Mantra will not take effect. So you should be established somewhat in the mode of goodness, and then the mantra can have more effect. And you should receive the mantra from the Guru.
Okay. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
And it's also said, Sampradaya Vihina Ye Mantraste Nishpala Mata. If the mantra is not received through the disciplic succession, then it will not bear any fruit. So you may chant a mantra just like people can read Prabhupada's books and they can chant the Gayatri Mantra and different mantras but if they don't receive them through the teacher, and the authorized channel, it will not have any real fruit. So it should come through the line of disciplic succession, you see. Of course, reading Prabhupada's books is there in Prabhupada's books. And so, but still, generally it's the guru who will give the mantra to the disciple and tell you to chant. So initially, you have to chant Hare Krishna mantra. And Hare Krishna mantra, you don't even need to be initiated. Everyone can chant that mantra. And there's no initiation for chanting Hare Krishna. Are you chanting?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah? You're chanting
Yes.
16 rounds? Yeah?
Maharaj, 12. 12.
Some
Not
12?
12 regularly, yes, Maharaj, but not 16 yet.
Okay. So Srila Prabhupada asked us to chant 16 rounds. So if you can chant 16 rounds, then it will be...
I'll try to chant. Yes, Maharaj. Please be merciful on me and give me Ashirwad to chant Hare Krishna 16 rounds.
Yes, right. We want you to chant 16 rounds, and then you'll be a worthy disciple. All right, any other questions? No? Okay, so we'll come back tomorrow night. We'll finish off this chapter. Yes?
Sorry, interjecting you again. There's a devotee here, one of the very sincere participants of the Bhakti Shastri. His name is Rohit Kaurani. He's here, and today it is his birthday. Maharaj, if
Oh,
you kindly bless him, Maharaj.
no.
Where is
Okay.
he? Rohit Kaurani, yeah, it's his birthday today.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dana Pranam.
Yes, Hare Krishna, Rohit Prabhu. Well, may Krishna bless you on your birthday. May you be blessed never to take birth again, right? May you never have to come back in this material body. That's the real blessing we want. Of course, as a spirit soul, you're eternal. You have no birth. And you know, the spirit soul never takes birth, never dies, but the material body. So we're celebrating the occasion of your body. So may Krishna bless you. May your body, your next body be a Satchidananda body. Right?
Thank you so
Not
much.
a Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go back to Vrinda ki jai.
Nashim Maharaj ki jai. All glories to
Hare,
his Nashim Maharaj. Hare
Hare,
Bol. Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare.
Maharaj, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Also, Maharaj is Maharaj is already left. So कल भक्ति शास्त्री का आखिरी दिन होने वाला है आई मीन क्लासेस का, राइट, है ना? सो मैं ये कह रहा था कि अगर आप लोग अपने आसपास वाले जो हमारे डिवोटीज हैं, भक्ति शास्त्री के मेंबर्स की बात करो, आसपास का मतलब वो नहीं, ठीक है, उनको जगा दो जो लोग हैं, ठीक है ना, सबके ही भाई बहन बंद सब है ना, कोई कहीं ना कहीं कोई कहीं ना कहीं जो इसके इसी का हिस्सा है, बता देना कल आखिरी है, ठीक है, जिसको आना हो कल आ जाए, ओके, उसके बाद तो कोई क्लास नहीं है, उसके बाद सिर्फ एग्जाम एंड देन विल बी ओके। सो जस्ट बता देना, आप मैसेज डाल देना माता जी जो डालना है, मैं मेरा व्हाट्सएप बंद है, सो ओके, थैंक यू, ओके रोहित प्रभु, थैंक्स वंस अगेन एंड कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशंस, आई वॉल कृष्णा, ओके,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna।